AFSPA order. Meanwhile, curfew continues to be imposed as internet services are suspended in 7 districts as well. We'll tell you all about it. A big conversation. Stay tuned. A high-level committee has been formed to probe the Jhansi hospital fire tragedy as parents continue to search for their missing children and infants. Notice sent to 80 Lucknow hospitals, meanwhile, over fire security. Actor Kasturi Shankar arrested for her comments against the Telugu community. Meanwhile, DRDO successfully test fires long-range hypersonic missile, joins a select club of very few countries. Down south in Karnataka, Chief Minister Biren says his government will sue the Bharatiya Janata Party for issuing false advertisements in poll-bound Maharashtra about flagship guarantee schemes. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi receives a grand and rousing welcome in Nigeria's Abuja. In Maharashtra's Gadchiroli, the police recovered 2 improvised explosive devices on the bridge over Pearl Kota River. And flash bombs hit Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's residence yet again, month after a Hezbollah drone attack. Well, first up, Manipur is on the edge as unrest escalated further on Saturday, with fresh protests and vandalism erupting in multiple parts of the state, particularly in Jiribam. Take a look at this. Protesters took to the streets, targeting and vandalizing the homes of several legislators, MLAs in Imphal Valley. Demonstrations intensified, with women blocking key roads in the Imphal West district. On the other hand, outside Silchar Medical College Hospital in Assam, clashes broke out between family members of the suspected militants and security forces, prompting police to resort to lathi charge. On the other hand, you've got the Union Home Ministry that has described the security situation in Manipur as fragile, citing violence by armed miscreants from both communities involved in the ongoing conflict. The ministry reaffirmed its commitment to strict action against those instigating violence or disorder. But important cases, according to the ministry, have been handed over to the NIA for investigation, and security forces have been directed to, restore order. But here's where things get tricky. Meanwhile, the Manipur government has urged the centre to review and withdraw the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, the latest recent AFSPA order from areas under the jurisdiction of 6 police stations. The state cabinet emphasized that this recommendation is a step in the public's interest. Elsewhere, protesters stormed the residences of several state leaders, including the Health and Family Welfare Minister in Imphal West, the Consumer Affairs Minister in Imphal East, and the Municipal Administration Minister in Imphal West. Again, in response to the escalating unrest, internet services have been temporarily suspended in 7 districts to prevent further disruptions. Well, on the broadcast with us, ladies and gentlemen, Kartikeya Sharma joins us here on the broadcast. Deputy Managing Editor, and of course we have with us Brijesh Pandey, our input editor. Joining us on the broadcast is also PK Mishra. Sir, always a pleasure to have you with us on the show with your keen focus on Manipur as well. Kartikeya, first and foremost over to you, just to get the snowball rolling. How do we decode and look at the last 24 hours alone?
I think last 24 hours have been very, very disturbing. And I would say that it requires some sort of better imagination on part of Manipur government and Ministry of Home Affairs, because certain things that have happened are beyond description. I mean to say, crowds have not only burned, these are deferred pictures, let me put it this way. We have not shown any picture of actual vandalization. These are deferred pictures which have happened yesterday. To give you just an idea how volatile the situation is, the crowd gathered in front of the Chief Minister's residence. Houses of lawmakers were attacked. Multiple houses of lawmakers were ransacked. The civil society organization, people, if you know, they came out in numbers. They challenged the lawmakers. There is a pressure on them. Some of them had to leave Imphal Valley. I spoke to one of them. I don't want to name him. He had to leave Imphal Valley. So lawmakers are in problem, and Manipur cabinet has written to the center saying that the AFSPA that has been imposed in 6 circles should be withdrawn. Now, if the MHA proposes and the Manipur government disposes in terms of an official letter, then I think it means that the government is under intense pressure, because the government wants to give this impression that they too oppose implementation of AFSPA in 6 circles, but it's a decision uh, by the central government. So there are a lot of things happening, and this has all happened in the wake of the encounter of the militants that took place in Jiribam. So in the wake of Jiribam, the entire valley has erupted, and then subsequently those 6 Meiteis, they were abducted. Uh, bodies were found, recovered from the Barak River, and then now they have been sent to Silchar for forensic verification and identification. The government has officially not claimed, given a I would say identification. But then what has happened is it has sent a very strong signal to the people living in the valley that the government was not able to protect, and it is for this reason. If you look at the tweet lines of the important lawmakers of Manipur, for example, Megha Chandra, he's saying, "Sorry, Mother Manipur," you know. So, this is paralyzing the administration. So, this development in Manipur has multiple layers. It is not a single layer story; it's a multiple layer story. Kabir, let me bring in Vijesh, and let me bring in
Right, absolutely.
IG. Mr. Mishra. Mr. Mishra, what
Additionally,
happened yesterday?
yeah,
What happened yesterday? How would you describe it? You know, though it's taking place in an episodic level, every 3 months, Imphal is now going through a huge a huge cycle of violence. But yesterday was slightly on a different note. It also acquires a very anti-centered tinge, Mr. Mishra.
yes, yes, Karthikeyan, I was through to Imphal East and Imphal West and Bisnupur and Churachandpur yesterday several times. And I can tell you this after Jiribam effect, which is there in Imphal Valley, has never happened. Even it didn't happen last time when it was boiling and 250 people lost their lives and 60,000 people were displaced from their houses. But what happened yesterday? It was much, much more than that. And you can see even the Chief Minister house was going to be raided, and 3 ministers' house was raided. Maximum MLA's house they were raided. One slight hint I can give you, Karthikeyan, though I cannot confirm that few of the MLAs there in Imphal, they are thinking of resigning also from their post. And what yesterday, Kokomi has brought out, their 5 charter program, and they have clearly mentioned that all the Indian central government offices should be ransacked. They have to kill all SO or SHU militants, and in fact, they have to fight against this AFSPA, which was there by central government.
Okay.
It was revoked there in
Okay.
6 police stations,
Okay.
and they will continue the agitation. In the meantime, all the 10 bodies who were killed, the militants who were killed at Jiribam, they were brought to Imphal by CRPF, and something has happened in Mizo also. The Mizo Students Association.
Okay, I'll just stop you here for a minute.
government-
I'll just stop you here for a
Yes.
minute. Let me go across to
Please
Vijesh. Vijesh, I think administration has also requisitioned Assam Rifle for law and order. Multiple developments of that sort have taken place. How do you describe the situation right now?
Well, the situation is extremely tense, Kartikeya, and I think this administration will have to show unnatural powers to make sure that the situation gets under control. As Mr. Mishra was mentioning, the bodies of 10 militants who were killed were brought to Imphal West, and then the bodies of these individuals, these Meitei women and children, will be brought to their respective native places, and I think it is going to further inflame the situation. How bad the situation can be guessed by this, Kartikeya, that the lawmakers are not safe. So if the lawmakers are not safe, then who else is safe in a particular state, because they enjoy the maximum security. MLAs, as Mr. Mishra very rightly said, there have been several reports that they are thinking of resigning and joining the group, because they too have their own political career to look forward to. And the overall situation is so inflamed, that it forced the state government to write a letter to MHA asking them to reconsider the decision of imposing AFSPA in 6 police stations across 5 districts. Now, if you remember, Kartikeya, yesterday when you were covering this unfortunate incident, there were several, posters and placards which were held by Meera Paibis, and one of the dominant demand which was there was to remove AFSPA. Now, this is one quagmire, I guess, the central government finds itself in. Will they give in to the pressure by the state, given the kind of, the volatile situation that is there, or will they stick to their AFSPA demand, which will further rile the Meitei community and also the lawmakers, saying that center is insensitive to their needs? So I think, it's a very tricky catch-22 situation for the center, because if you remove AFSPA, then it becomes very, very difficult for the armed forces, central armed forces, to operate on their own, because, then you'll have to take help of a ADM, make sure that there is a law authority, state law authority along with you, and it compromises your operation of the free hand which you get in the operation. But it also gives police a virtual free hand to deal with the situation the way they deem fit.
Brijesh,
So
I personally, I feel that this happens when you do not address the moot questions, the basic questions which we had discussed. For example, de-weaponization, no clarity on the SU agreements, lack of communication from the nodal ministry, which is Home Ministry, as to what they want to do in context of peace process, lack of faces in terms of peace emissary. वो कहते हैं कि बुनियादी सवालों के जब आप जवाब नहीं देते हैं, तो बाकी जो सवाल हैं और बाकी जो मुद्दे हैं वो नैरेटिव वॉर्स में तब्दील हो जाते हैं. आई एम टॉसिंग बैक टू कबीर. I think there are a couple of reactions we have from Imphal Valley. Kabir, is it correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. At this point in time, we have a reaction coming from a woman protester. Now, let's not forget, the women got down to the streets and blocked several major roads as well. We could quickly listen in to what this woman protester is saying, and then we'll come back back to this riveting conversation.
You cannot control this conflict if you cannot save our land and the people. Then now, we the people of Manipur, the indigenous people, now we will fight for our land and the people. No need for armed forces here. Please remove all the forces. We will try our best to save our land and the people.
Well, you just heard that woman over there. On the broadcast with me is Kartikeya Sharma, Brijesh Pandey, and of course former IG BSF PK Mishra.
That's
they
very
continue to be
interesting.
with us on
That's
the broadcast.
very that's a very interesting bite, Kabir. That's a very
Right.
interesting bite. First to you, Mr. Mishra, then to Brijesh, which means that AFSPA indeed is becoming an issue in the valley for the people.
Yes, Karthikeyan, the way, in fact, yesterday, when this ladies, particularly the Meera Paibis, they came up, and everywhere in Imphal, whether it is Imphal West or Imphal East, all Meera Paibis were on the road. Their main charter of demand was remove this AFSPA from the 6 districts which were done by Ministry of Home. That was also projected by the COCOMI. COCOMI's main agenda is fight against that AFSPA in 6 districts, and it has to be removed. Now the thing is, the problem which is there for the security forces, it's very difficult to control the situation. And yesterday, I have seen this video. I was going to show you, but then that I could not show it. This lady who was shouting, and I can tell you, whole Meera Pipe is there on the road. And I will tell you, the district transport office, the driving license office, the transport ministry office, completely ransacked and completely destroyed yesterday. And as Pratish was also telling, and I got the information from my sources that most of the MLAs, they are in Imphal, they are thinking of resigning because they know their future is dark. Their houses were all vandalized. They were, stone throwing was there. And now these 10 dead bodies of militants who were killed by CRPF, they are in Nepal, and those 6 dead bodies from Silchar, they will be coming. Things will again erupt, and I can well tell you the whole Manipur is boiling, and we have to see how, because N. Biren Singh, of course, he is totally helpless, and that is how, on the pressure of all the MLAs, on the pressure of Mera Paipit, on the pressure of Kukomi, he has written this letter from his government that withdraw this AFSPA order which MHA has given it. But things are very difficult. I think it is very difficult for the forces also to continue there. You see,
I know forces are having a very tough time because you see, forces are not dealing with just organizations.
Yes, you cannot.
The forces are having a tough time because forces are dealing with entire people. They are not dealing with.
One more point I will just
with organizations. They are dealing with people.
Yeah. Yes,
people's anger is there.
One more point I will add.
I'll come to you. Let Brijesh finish. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Minister, we have time. Brijesh.
Well, I think, Kartikeya, one thing is very clear that and we have been covering Manipur in absolute detail for the last 18-19 months. We know the kind of hold Mera Paibis have on the Manipur society, and once they are, and they have been at the forefront of all the big fights, which the Meitei communities have been fighting, be it against Indian forces or be it against any other problem which the community faces. And now they are also on the road vehemently protesting against the kind of what they say is an absolute injustice. Now the tricky question is that, hope is a good breakfast, but bad supper. What is happening is that, that the action which should have been taken after, once there was a lull in the violence, after 5-6 months of intense violence, there should have been some strong action taken, which would have put, the situation under control. There should have been, special raids to make sure that the weaponry which have been looted and which has been pointed on various retired generals who have helmed Assam Rifle and others in the state of Manipur about the kind of, the kind of chaos it was allowed to permit. Now, as I have always been saying that, any society which decides to arm itself is a society which has no trust in the government to give justice to them, and that is exactly what is happening. It is not the fear for the ordinary people. It's rage. And the rage is reflected on the visuals which we are seeing in the the motorcycles being burned, hospital offices, government offices being ransacked, and cabinet ministers, even there was an attempt to people try to reach out to the Chief Minister's house and office as well. So these things will continue, and the government is caught in a bind. How to go about it, because if you don't remove AFSPA, then the impression gives that that the local police or the local population will not get to act the way they want to. And if the AFSPA is there, then the central forces will be having a free run to control or detain anybody who's indulging in violence. Now, it looks like that, that the society is clearly divided and agreeing on one line, which is badla, revenge. And that is the reason why we are seeing such heightened tension, and people are refusing to listen to either armed forces or their lawmakers, and that is the reason why, as Mr. Mishra very rightly said, the pressure on Biren Singh is that he has to write a letter to MHA asking for withdrawal of AFSPA. That happens, that will further singe the valley into utter chaos.
Okay, let me again throw back to Kabir Naqvi, our anchor. He's telling me that we have another bite to play of one of the civil society spokespersons.
That's absolutely right, gentlemen, and to the viewers as well. Khoraijam Athuba is a Kokomi spokesperson. Let's quickly listen into what they have to say.
People of Manipur are completely in shock. People of Manipur is now very angry, and people of Manipur feels that the government of India has failed the people of Manipur. The Constitution of India has also failed the people of Manipur. They couldn't guarantee the security of its citizens. They couldn't guarantee the lives of innocent women and ladies. And this is really unfortunate, and the people of Manipur is now going desperate. And as you can see that several sections of the society has now taken action at their own hand. They have committed so many violent agitations in different parts of the state. And along this side, Kokomi, representing the entire people of Manipur, has now declared to stage an indefinite sit-in protest in the center of Imakaichal until and unless our set of demands has been delivered or met by the Government of India and the Government of Manipur.
Well, there you have it. Another strong statement coming from the Kokomi spokesperson as well. Karthike, Brijesh and PK sir, I'm going to request you to please stay on with us. I need to slip into a quick commercial breather here, but there's a lot to talk about even as Manipur goes on the boil yet again. Right on the other side. Stick around. Keep watching News9.
IFA is a movement. IFA is emotion.
IFA 2024 honored and celebrated for the first time the southern film industries of Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam and Kannada.
Earlier, we all had our own boundaries, like your Kannada industry, your Telugu industry, your Tamil industry, Malayalam industry. But all these industries have come together now, and we become Indian industry.
This and more. Streaming on News9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
यही मौका है बिजनेस को बढ़ाने का, पर पैसा।
अपनी सुपर पावर यूज करने का टाइम आ गया है।
आप टेंशन मत लीजिए, IIFL फाइनेंस से झटपट गोल्ड लोन लीजिए और बिजनेस आगे बढ़ाइए।
आपके जैसे सुपर हीरोज ऐसी छोटी मोटी प्रॉब्लम से थोड़ी ना रुकते हैं, इसीलिए लाइफ जब भी आगे बढ़ने का मौका दे तो अपनी सुपर पावर, अपना गोल्ड यूज करिए और IIFL फाइनेंस से गोल्ड लोन लीजिए।
IIFL फाइनेंस करता है सीधी बात।
Welcome back. We're continuing with our focus on Manipur, ladies and gentlemen. The state is on the edge. Unrest escalated yet again on Saturday with fresh protests and vandalism erupting in multiple parts of the state, particularly in Jiribam. Protesters have taken to the streets, vandalizing homes of several MLAs and ministers in the Imphal Valley as well. Some of those deferred visuals on your screens are not showing anybody the exact moment or the act of vandalism, so to speak. These are deferred in time, essentially the aftermath of the violence, like you can see. Houses of several ministers were stormed as well. With me on the broadcast, input editor Brijesh Pandey, deputy managing editor Karthike Sharma, and former IG BSF PK Mishra continue to be with us on the broadcast here. Karthike, even as we look to wrap this segment up, what are some of the key points that one needs to take away from all that has happened between the government, the Ministry of Home Affairs, and what we've seen play out on the streets?
I think I would say that there is lack of planning, I think there's lack of objectives, common objectives between Imphal and New Delhi. I mean, how come Ministry of Home Affairs impose AFSPA and in a span of 5 or 7 days, you have the cabinet requesting the Ministry of Home Affairs that it should be withdrawn. I mean, so these decisions are taken after consultation. It means that there is no consultation. Second thing, everyone anticipated that there will be violence, and the violence took place. The lawmakers got attacked. This is unacceptable. I mean, so how can we not protect our lawmakers? Third, there is an intense pressure on Manipur police because people are out. You can't fire on people. You can't use hard tactics on people. So it's making their job very, very difficult. The fourth thing is, as Brijesh rightly pointed it out, he used the word in Hindi called badla. ये सारी चीजें वो बदले की भावना से हो गई हैं. What happened in Jiribam was avenged on innocent children's body. Right now, the administration has not spoken directly on it, so we have not actually said a word on it. But the entire valley is upset about the abduction issue. You see, that is the fountainhead. ये हो क्या रहा है कि abduction वाले मसले पे इतनी सारी चीजें हो गई हैं. But we have not chosen to do any programming because officially they have not come out. And as I said yesterday, there is a parallel universe which is operating on social media. Mainstream media is bound by certain guidelines. We adhere to it. I mean, so the sort of visuals we could have shown in terms of the way people gathered in front of Chief Minister's residence, or the way they were attacking the MLA's residence, it would shock everyone in New Delhi or entire India. But we didn't do that because we are bound by rules. But then social media is a different universe. It's all over the place, and that is why the entire valley is agitated. And now you have curfew in Imphal East, Imphal West, Bishnupur. The internet has been withdrawn, and now you have this official notification from the cabinet of Manipur requesting MAJ to withdraw it. So it's telling us that instead there is no normalcy in Manipur. You have episodic events of peace. You have no peace. And it gets broken and shattered very quickly by one odd incident here or there. People are not being allowed to harvest paddy. There are bigger issues. People are not even being allowed to harvest their paddies because the firing is taking place from hill. There has to be a much more serious effort. I don't think in this context, center can afford to sit on the problem so that वो कहते हैं ना ठंडी हो जाए थोड़ी बात. मुझे नहीं लगता है कि बात अपने आप ठंडी होगी. Brijesh, you can agree or disagree with me on this.
बात बिल्कुल ठंडी नहीं होगी. There are no two ways about it. And I think one angle where the center also blurred big time was when the supposed peace, there was a lull in violence which was there. There were many who asked about AFSPA to be imposed so that central forces can get an absolute freedom to track down and hunt down those who have looted the arms, be it Valley or Hill, and would try to, act or take punitive measures against them. But there was a massive, protest both from intellectuals in Delhi, people in Delhi as well as people in Manipur that, no AFSPA should be imposed and, everything is going on. And the removal of Assam rifle will bring Ram Rajya to the state. But unfortunately, Assam rifle has been removed, but not much has happened. Now the situation is that, now the time when the center decided, correctly sensing that, that encounter of 10 militants and the subsequent kidnapping of 3 women and 3 children would entail, they immediately imposed AFSPA. But now their act is being challenged, and there's a large-scale violence which is going on, making it extremely tough, not only for Manipur police, but also for central armed police forces to resort to any kind of hard action, which is, indulging in lathi charge or chasing away the protesters, because that will further inflame the situation. So now, the forces are also caught in a bind, and I think it would require deft political maneuverings, both by state as well as center, to make sure that the situation doesn't spiral out of control. And if there is, if there is a lull in violence in the next, 5-6 days or a week, I think the center and state need to be far more coordinated than what we have witnessed in the last 17-18 months. Kabir?
Well, yeah, pertinent points. PK sir, over to you. Quick final comments from you before we wrap this segment up. Your keen focus on Manipur and, of course, what you've seen pan out on the streets over the last 24 hours.
Kabir, I have seen it personally, and I told you I have seen it personally. And what has happened in Jiribam what has happened in citing, what has happened in Imphal East, Imphal West, now then what has happened about killing of 10 militants and abduction of 6 of them, and then killing them, and dead bodies of 10 militants coming to Imphal, and then eruption of violence and attacking Chief Minister's residence and attacking MLA's houses, MLAs planning to resign. This shows that things are completely out of control, and you have heard what the chief of COCOMI has told. They are also going straight that this imposition of AFSPA should be immediately removed, and the state government and the chief minister they have to. Even Mera Paibis are also with the COCOMI. So things are very bad there. It will take time, but the thing is, as of now, definitely both the central government and state government must think how to bring back normalcy and the violence. And I can well tell you, AFSPA, if it is removed again by MHA, things will be very bad in Valley, because PLA is also coming up. Several militant organizations are coming up. Weapons are also there in the Valley. It's not only in the hills. Hills are full of weapons coming from Myanmar, and even Valley also, they are having these weapons. The weapons have to be searched, and people, they have to be requested to go back by both center and state, and all the ministers, all the legislative assembly members must come out. They must speak to their men to adhere to discipline, and this is the way it has to be tackled. I hope the violence should immediately stop, and that is how. And the forces, they must keep restrained, because they are the civilians on the road. We can't have firing. We cannot resort to firing. We have to request them. We have to pressurize them. We have to tell them time and again that this type of violence is not enough, because if there is violence, the militants will take up this thing, and they will keep on firing, and there will be more violence there in the Valley. It has to be avoided.
Right. Many thanks, Speaker Sir, for your final comments. Gentlemen, every time we leave the discussion on Manipur saying that, let's hope that good sense prevails, and let's hope that, everybody, all the major stakeholders get onto that negotiation table and start talking about it. I feel all these words are sort of losing their value as well. Like Karthike pointed out during the course of this discussion as well, that, you can't sit on this situation anymore at this point in time. Imphal protests, roads have been blocked by women, houses of the legislators have been vandalized. There was arson and vandalism on the streets of Imphal East and Imphal West. Ministers, MLAs alike, take a look at some of those visuals. Of course, deferred in time. We're telling you again and again, we're not showing you the exact act of vandalism or the arson that was in fact carried out, or the mobs storming the premises of these legislators, let alone ministers, like that bike on fire. These are all deferred a little bit by time, but the situation and the attention that it warrants is certainly not deferred.